Hello, 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 KDB, can you hear me?
Yo, can you hear me?
Hey, can loud and clear, my man. How are you?
Dude, I feel like such a new first time doing this. Don't know how to join. I raised the hand. I'm like, am I not clicking the right button? What's going on here?
Yeah, man. No, it's look, man, it's so great to have you here. I'm super excited. I think I'm gonna drop an announcement in the meme coin channel, but that's where all the degens are. And I'm gonna tell them to hop on. And yeah, hopefully we can get started. But yeah,
I hope
guys, if you line up to go ahead.
I hope I didn't disappoint anyone. A lot of people are probably hoping that it was a sad jumping on. So I hope I can provide some value at least, and hopefully, get more people making some money with these airdrops. I really think everyone should be doing it.
Absolutely.
Like, I,
Listen,
I don't
guys.
know. Like I kind of treat that airdrop channel like my own personal diary. I post all my wins and the airdrop claims. I'm pretty transparent. You guys, I don't do any photo edits, no Photoshop. All that is real capital. So if I can do it, there's no reason why you guys can't.
Absolutely. Look, guys, on a serious note, BS aside, KDB is literally our secret weapon with Cryptonary. He's been here for a long time. And yeah, a lot of you aren't familiar with the airdrop channels. I know this because when we spoke a couple of weeks ago on live, a lot of people hadn't checked it out. When I tell you this guy is a secret weapon, and he's going to show you guys a lot today and tomorrow, we have a huge report dropping, top airdrops to farm for 2026. You guys are very lucky. And I think we should start, man. Mr. KDV, let's dive in. Tell the guys a little bit about yourself, when you got into crypto, how you got started, and then when you joined Cryptonary. Let's get to it.
Yeah, for sure. So maybe I should start from the beginning. So the first time I ever heard about Bitcoin was back in university. I think it was around 2013. And the way that it was described to me, probably not the best, but they described me as like, yeah, it's this money on the internet, and you can like buy drugs on the dark web. And I'm like, okay, cool. If they had explained to me like, you should read the white paper and all this stuff, I'd probably be retired by now. I think Bitcoin was around like $500 back. So fast forward to, I think, the top of the last cycle. What was that, like 2021?
Yeah.
I think that's when like dot was like $40 and stuff like that. That same guy that I went to school with, his girlfriend was actually a member of Cryptonary, because I kept asking her all these questions. She's like, you know what? Why don't you just join this group? I think she had bought Sol when it was like $10, and she made a ton of money. So yeah, I think I joined you guys in like 2021. Unfortunately, I joined a little bit late, so I'd kind of bought some assets at the top, and then I kind of diamond handed like a portfolio from 6 figures down to like 10K. I lost 5K in FTX. I lost another 5K, and I don't know if anyone remembers Anchor Protocol on Luna. We were offering a
Yeah.
risk-free 20%. So I almost lost like everything. I've made so many stupid mistakes, but I think with every mistake you learn a lot. You learn about risk management. Yeah, and here we are. So it's been a hell of a journey, and I just been a member for a long time. I started posting some of the airdrop wins. You guys invited me to the team, and the rest has been history. It's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, it's been great. And it's been a pleasure working with you for a little while now. Especially, I would say, the last like 6 months as we've been building out T3, which we've hinted at a couple of times. But I guess, look, man, tell us, how did you get into airdrop? I think you were the first person to mention airdrop to me in Discord a couple of years ago. But how did you make that transition from being the guy who coming in 2021 and I'm guessing you're just buying a bunch of altcoins trying to outperform? And how did you get into the airdrop space?
Well, you guys had actually published a report about optimism, OP. So this was around the same time like
Dude.
our Arbitrum and all these L2s were starting to come out. and I had missed the OP airdrop criteria by about 1 week. One of the criterias is that you had to bridge in like 0.001 ETH by a certain date, and I missed it by a week, and I was so mad because I saw all these people that I knew had just made like 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand. And I said, you know what? I am never missing another airdrop again. Um, yeah, and it's and I haven't. I've printed.
Yeah, that's good. And there's been a lot of KDB who have no idea what we're even talking about. They don't know what an airdrop is. They've never played it. If we had just go back to the bare bones, what is an airdrop? Where did they originate from? And give people a bit of an intro if they've never heard of airdrops before.
So the best way to describe an airdrop is it's an incentive reward for testing a protocol early on. And a lot of people would ask, a lot of people think airdrops are scams. They're like, oh, why would they just give you free money? And the reason is this: there's a relationship between the protocol, the VCs, and the end users. And the truth is, we need each other, right? Without airdrop farmers, a lot of these protocols, no one's actually going to use them. So to incentivize the usage, and every protocol is going to decentralize at some point. They're going to release a governance token. They all do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to incentivize people early on, even from us, from a business and a product perspective. We want you guys to engage with us. We want to create a feedback loop because only then can we really improve our product. So most of these protocols, what they do when they launch, they don't know if they're any good. So they launch a kind of MVP and you guys playing around with it, they get to figure out all their bugs, all their kings, anything that you believe will improve their product. And that's what you're essentially being rewarded for. It's you are the guinea pig, the lab rat. And honestly, it's I wouldn't mind with some of how lucrative some of these airdrops are. They're no brainers. So KDB, now we know what an airdrop is and why they do them. How has it changed since when you started? I remember in 2021 when I first came across airdrops, they were very random. There was no method to the madness. And although you can make a lot of money, it seems very different to now. So what's the meta game at the moment?
So right now, everything is kind of, there's like memes. If you're on Twitter, it's all about points. It's all about um, there's a leaderboard and there's point emission. So based on your weekly activity, the protocol usually issues X amount of points per week. Maybe they run the program for 3 months, for 6 months, and then at the end of the incentive window, those points that you're able to accumulate in that time frame will translate to the airdrop that you received. So this is a lot different than back in the day, or like at the time of the Arbitrum airdrop, because there was no point system. We didn't even know that there was going to be an airdrop necessarily. It was implied, and there was a lot of speculation that there would be, but there was no leaderboard. So in a way, it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. At least with the leaderboard, you see where you stand, right? You can see if the activity that you're doing, how you rank relative to all the other users, right? And then you can adapt your strategy. So I think that's the whole point of airdrops, is to use things early before everyone else shows up. But you can also adjust your strategy if what you're doing isn't generating good points, then you could always try again the next week. And the long story short, like when you're farming these airdrops, especially with some of these perp DEXs, like you want to try to do it for zero cost basis. So you want to, for example, with the perp DEXs, you could farm two of them at the same time. You could go long position on one, short position
Yeah.
on the other. They cancel each other out. So you're really not spending any money. You're accumulating the points for free. You know, and that's basically the best strategy to go about it. I see some people making jokes that went from 100K to 10K. Yeah,
Yeah, no, it happens, man. I think something that would be good to like go over straight away, because I'm sure we're going to dive into strategies and specifics later on, and that's very important. But I think before people get into airdrop, you mentioned you're basically getting in very early. And with that, there's a lot of risk involved. And a lot of people avoid scams. There's a lot of dodgy protocols out there, smart contracts, are all with that risk. When you're looking for potential protocols to fund, do you stay out of the trap?
for sure. So, you know, I think one of the super important things while you're doing this is not to get scammed, not to deposit your hard-earned capital in some protocol that's sketchy. So for example, like when we posted this one about Hydro and Nado, which is the Ink chain airdrop opportunity. So the Ink chain is Kraken's chain, right? So that alone gives it a lot of credibility, right? It's not some random BS thing that no one's ever heard of. Everyone's heard of Kraken, you know, and it's very. I would equate it to like Binance Smart Chain, right? Or
Yeah.
Bybit has Mantle, right? So and like the Kraken Twitter account was like posting about these protocols. So I would never put my money, and I would never tell any of our members' money to put anything that I wouldn't put my own money in, right? So it's just equally as important to be safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're this early on. Big rewards for being early, but there's a lot of danger that can come with it. But I think that's why what you do is so important. You're above that. You get there ahead. You risk it yourself. You're stress testing the protocols, and obviously you have a formula for avoiding some of these things. What else are you looking at when, if I was to invest in a business or put my money in a protocol, I'd probably try and keep an eye on who's involved. You know, who are the founders? What is their roadmap? What's their vision? When you're looking to farm airdrops, how much time are you spending looking at the team, the roadmap, the vision, versus what just seems lucrative? Because of course, you can put your time into farming an airdrop. If they drop a token and it flops, you kind of wasted your time. So how much are you putting into evaluating them in that regard?
You know, it really depends. I think some things are quite obvious that it's safe. Sometimes it requires a little bit more due diligence. There's a couple really good resources out there if anyone is interested. There's a website called crypto-funding.info, and it shows you all the new protocols and how much money they've raised, and more importantly, who the backers are. So you
Mhm.
can, you know, if you can see that a protocol has raised $20 million, and the VCs backing them are like Coinbase, then you know it's pretty safe to assume that they're probably not going to rug, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of work that goes into evaluating them, and you've already taken care of the security side. What opportunities are we sitting on right now? Obviously, everyone here, we have a new series coming out, Top Airdrops of 2026. Expect the first report to drop later and maybe the next one next week. So that's coming in tomorrow, most likely for you guys to read in all of it. So we wanted to do this to make sure everyone was geared up. So what are some of the best practices, KDB, along with the metas, you know, whether that be perps, you know, security, privacy, whatever. What are the meta games right now? What opportunities are on the table? And what are the best practices people need to get in order before they start farming?
Right. So first thing we'll talk about like what the meta is right now. So the meta definitely is perp dexes. You know, the best example is we just got the lighter airdrop, which was a huge cook. And I'm really proud of some of the guys in our Discord, some guys that had smaller portfolios that made their first like, you know, 10, 15 grand. I love to see that, especially when they're only starting with a couple grand, because that makes me like, hey, I'm doing my job. I'm showing these
Yeah.
people the opportunity, and people are taking action, and I love it. It makes me feel good. So, and I think the reason why I think Lighter was quite obvious as an opportunity is because we saw how big of a wealth generation Hyperliquid was, right? And I thought it was quite evident that there was going to be copycat catch-up plays. So there's a whole bunch of different perp DEXs aside from Lighter. We've published a couple of them. One is Backpack. I expect that one to TGE in about maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks. So there's still time to do that one. And there's a way that you can do it where the process is automated with grid bots. I've shared some of my settings, some of the volume I'm generating. But aside from perp DEXs, there's prediction markets. Polymarket in particular is going to drop in the first half of 2026. I think that could potentially be like one of the biggest airdrops of all time. They've raised like $10 billion, and there's a video out there of the CMO of Polymarket on a podcast confirming that the token is coming. So yeah, so I would definitely do that one. Perp DEXs, and then there's like a whole bunch of other little smaller protocols. I'm going to do like an example of this one called Titan, and it's like everyone should be using it because it's a swap aggregator. So in the same way that you would use Jupiter for your swaps, if you're swapping Sol to US or vice versa, you could do the same thing on Titan, and it's actually going to save you money. When I share this, show you like the price differences between the two. So you're actually going to like, yeah. So that's what's so good about these things is you test these different protocols and you can actually like save yourself money doing it, and then get free money at the end. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that's why it's really important to do stuff like airdrops. You're basically at the forefront of crypto. You're trying to be early. That's the whole point. You're being rewarded for being early. And you get a lot of people who get into assets and protocols later. But if you're doing airdrop farming, which that's what KDB is doing, what we're going to focus on now, you're finding projects early. How many people use Hyperliquid now? How many people look at Lighter? And these guys are there before it kicks off. They're there right at the beginning. And the edge you develop for being in airdrop, for air farming airdrops and being in these projects early will just set you apart from 99% of other investors. I was speaking to a bro about this, and he said if there was one thing he could do to get good at crypto, whatever you want that to mean, it's to farm airdrops. So I think everyone who gets into this game, not only is there huge money on the table, almost risk-free, you'll get very, very good at spotting trends, spotting narratives, seeing what protocol is good that you can get in super early. It's very exciting. But yeah, KDB, I think that's good. I think we've set the stage for what airdrops are, why they're important, the opportunity, the meta game. I know you're going to go in and screen share and do an example of one to get guys familiar. But before we do, how about we go over the best practices before someone gets stuck in? And use me as a case study. Pretend I know nothing and I want to get started. I'm going to read your report tomorrow. You've got 5 airdrop opportunities for me. What do I do? Right? Do I need fresh wallets? What browser should I use? Get me stuck in. How should I begin my airdrop journey?
right. So first thing that everyone needs to do tonight, if they haven't already, is read that frickin' security report and read it like reading it front to back a couple times till it really gets like ingrained in your head. When we are doing these airdrops, we're kind of using, and scams are so prolific, especially as the higher the price goes, the more these scammers are going to come out of the woodworks. And I've seen it happen to so many of our members, and it's really shitty because it's really easily avoidable. Like, how many people here have got a random message from Dive, right? One of our other team members. There's like 7 or 8 Dives, like, hey, and then like, hey, give me your seed phrase. Like, come on, guys. So don't give anyone your seed phrase. But in addition to that, you kind of need the right tool for the job too, right? You're not going to paint a house with a screwdriver. I see a lot of people using Phantom Wallet for Ethereum-based protocols, right? And I love Phantom. I use Phantom, but I use it for Solana protocols, right? If you're doing stuff on Ethereum, do yourself a favor, download Rabby. Don't use MetaMask either. MetaMask is a piece of garbage. Rabby is just so much better in terms of compatibility with different protocols. And also it has like, it does like transaction simulations before you sign it, anything. So you can see if there's any tokens that are coming in and out of your wallet. So use Rabby. And then also there's a couple really good Chrome extensions that everyone should download today. One is called Scam Sniffer, and the other one is called Pocket Universe. And those are also going to flag any malicious websites. They're also going to simulate transactions. And then the final feature that they have that's super cool is when you're on Twitter and you're scrolling, it will flag scammy posts. And yeah, so just having those three things alone, you know, and if you use your brain, then you're gonna avoid getting robbed or scammed or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So operating security is absolutely critical. And then Rabby Wallet for EVM protocols, and Scam Sniffer, and Pocket Universe
Pocket
for
Universe,
just staying on top. Yeah.
got it.
What about for farming on Solana chain or Hyperliquid chain or Binance chain? What wallets would you recommend?
Yeah, Rabby. So Rabby is compatible with
All of them?
Hyper EVM and Binance Smart Chain. So any EVM chain, Rabby is compatible with. And Phantom is totally fine for Solana-based protocols. And Pocket Universe, if you go on their Twitter, they just made an announcement that they actually do transaction simulations as well. And we'll see that when I share my screen. So you're getting all these like lines of defense before you sign something, because there's a little pop-up and it shows you how much is coming in, how much is coming out. You'll see what, yeah, you'll see what I mean. It just gives you like
Okay.
huge peace of mind. A lot of people, like, you know, they've never left the safety of a sex, right? And we're
Yeah.
journeying out into this DeFi space, and you need to be careful, because you click one wrong thing and you kiss your portfolio goodbye. So you need to be safe.
Yeah, it's so
But we
important.
can't. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to. I'm not trying to scare anyone or anything like that. Because, you know, as long as you're
I
smart, you
think
take
it's
the precaution.
good. I think you should be scaring people because this is very serious. I was talking to a guy who reached out. He wanted to apply for the like one-to-one services, and he fell for, and he didn't have custody of his own crypto. And this is someone with like a multi-six-figure portfolio. So yeah, it's massively misunderstood. And I've been scammed before. So yeah, get your operating security in order before you do anything, right? Forget airdrop farming until you have your hardware wallets and you have your seed phrases in a couple of places. Don't even tell your mom about them. And then, yeah, KDB, you wrote a piece specifically regarding Ledger and Trezor, etc., correct? And you had a referral code in that?
Yep, that's right. So in the security report at the very end, if you guys don't have a hardware wallet, if you don't have a ledger, then yeah, probably not the best idea. I would definitely, everyone needs it. Look, if you're serious about crypto, if you're serious about investments, you're serious about your capital management, then everyone needs one. Period.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess, KDB, I want to let you dive in, share your screen, do a demo, and then at the end we can go, but we can conclude and answer some questions. I will say something that's consistently been asked a couple of times is how much does it to farm airdrops? I would say two things to keep in mind is obviously fees, gas fees. And then if you're playing around with a protocol, as JDB mentioned, whether you're doing swaps or you're providing let's say liquidity, or you're putting a trade in, it is going to cost some money. So in short, KDB, how much capital would someone need to get started outside of gas? Because from my understanding, it just depends on how exposed you want to be and how many points you want to earn. But I'll let you answer that before you do a demo.
I think it depends, right? Like there's a lot of people that I know that you can farm airdrops with under $1,000, no problem, and still get a very decent reward at the end, especially if you're early. So you don't need $1 million. You don't need 10 grand or 100 grand to farm these airdrops. With that being said, your capital does compound, right? So if you're farming a protocol with 100 grand, you are going to get a bigger airdrop than the guy that's farming it with 500 bucks. But usually the airdrop is linear in scale, right? So the more capital that you put in, the more that you're going to get at the end, unless you're super, super early. And then even those small capital guys can print and cook a good airdrop.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Well, that's
yeah.
important. That's important to note. I'm super excited. One thing I want to do actually before we get stuck in, just to make sure people see the importance and stick around, is we've had massive success on airdrops. There's been some huge wins along the way. Obviously, everyone here knows how bullish we are on hype. We did hype pre-token drop. I think it dropped at $3, but we were farming it, and members were awarded hype tokens when it first began. When L2s first came on the scene, Optimism, Arbitrum, same thing. Everyone here uses Jupiter, I assume. We farmed that airdrop. Jito, there are a bunch of others. KDB, tell us about some of the big wins we've had and maybe share some numbers too. I believe our average payout for hype is like multiple 5 figures. But yeah, share some of the recent wins and some capital people have in mind. You mentioned $1,000 to get started. Even though I think you can get started for cheaper, go in everyone with $1,000 an idea. What kind of returns can people expect based off past success?
So I think the Jito airdrop was things legends are made out of. It is still remembered very fondly by the fellow airdrop community because, man, if I could go back in time, I would have done it so much differently. Get this. You could have staked one soul for 2 months and you would have made out with a 10 grand airdrop. So I only got it on one wallet and I made, my portfolio was a little bit smaller at the time. So I only had 10 soul staked and I ended up getting a 20 grand airdrop from Jito. That was one of the first airdrops I ever received. And man, the feeling that you get, like seeing that you are eligible and you click the button and you see that like free money fly inside your wallet. It's like, it is so addictive, man. That's why I do this all day. So that was a really good example. So people would do that on like 5 or 10 wallets and they would make like 100 grand off like $1,000 capital, right? The Hyperliquid airdrop. Hyperliquid airdrop, if you were really early on that one, you could have done $30,000 in perp volume, right? So
Huge. And that's at the time of
here's
the
the other
drop
thing too. Yeah, I think like mine when it dropped, it was worth like 50. And then it like
What if you
went on
didn't
like
sell
a
KDB? What would
crazy
have happened if you didn't sell? How much capital would you be sitting on from that airdrop?
at the all-time high because hype ran to like almost $60, right? I got airdropped 8,000 tokens. So what's 8 times 50? It would be like 400 grand, right?
Wow, 8,000
Just for
times
clicking.
150. Yeah.
for clicking button.
Clicking button, man, for the most ROI in crypto. Clicking some buttons. I actually think that's important for people to note too. Look, meme coins are amazing, and there's huge capital to be made. But there are other things going on in crypto that you should be tapping into. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about concentrated liquidity as of late. We talk about basis trades. We've told people to check out privacy coins and some of these other matters. Airdrops cannot be ignored. This is why we're doing this stream today, because I was speaking to someone who canceled their subscription, and they said, look, the only thing we're getting are meme coins, and it's great, and obviously we're holding positions where there's nothing else to do. And I'm like, have you found any airdrops? I didn't know what an airdrop was. It's one of our key offerings with Cryptonary. So yeah, you have to get stuck in, guys. I recommend everyone check these out. But KDB, I'll let you share your screen. Dive in. Let's do a sample. Let's show people how easy it actually is to get started. I think a lot of people are a bit intimidated. I think it's going to take a lot of time. Even if it's cheap, I can't be clicking buttons all day. Why don't you show an example of how easy it is to get started? And then people are ready to dive in tomorrow and get stuck in.
So I want to start with a super easy protocol. I did touch on it briefly earlier. So this one is called Titan. It is a protocol on the Solana chain. We raised $10.5 million, which I would say is a decent chunk of money. But more importantly, it's who are the investors. So you can see that the lead investor is Galaxy. And if anyone read the Breakpoint report about the Solana conference, you'll remember that Galaxy had some like really bullish news with JP Morgan and Coinbase in bringing equities on chain, right? So the fact that you have these big institutions getting more ingrained with crypto, I think is not only bullish for the space, crypto in general, but the Solana chain specifically. So can you still see my screen here?
Yeah, loud and clear. No, that's some good context too. And see, as KDB said, there's wants to make sure we're not just wasting time with some BS company. He's going in, he's looking at context in the background of the people doing it. So he knows going in, there's probably going to be something at the end. You don't want to be chasing, you know, a golden goose that doesn't exist. You're actually farming on a protocol that has potential, because if a token drops, you still want it to be something with potential too. But yeah, okay. I want to keep a timer as well. So I'm considering this a start point. Let's see how long it takes you to set up this farm.
So I'm kind of going back and forth between a couple different tabs. Is all of that popping up?
Move your cursor. Yeah, I can see you. The cursor's moving. Yeah.
Right. So right now I'm on the Titan website, right? What about now?
That's right.
If I click this and share this tab instead, is this showing Jupiter?
Yeah, this is Jupiter. Yeah, it's working.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, so check this out. Okay, so if you go to Jupiter, right, and say you want to swap $1,000 to Solana, we're going to get about 6.96, right? But if we go to Titan and we do that same swap, well, I gotta switch the tab here. We're actually going to get 7.04. So you're actually getting better price execution on this protocol. You know what's funny? I have a little conspiracy on why I think this is. I think that Phantom pissed off Jupiter because Phantom decided to put the hyperliquid perps on their protocol instead of using Jupiter. So if you use Phantom Wallet on Jupe now they're charging you an extra. Jupiter actually wants you to use their wallet to do the swaps, and then it's cheaper.
Interesting. Crypto politics, yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah. Hey, it's hard. It's tough out there. So in order to farm this protocol, it is very simple, guys. All we need to do is do some swaps back and forth. So any normal transactions that you guys are doing, if you're buying Aura, if you're buying Solana, if you're buying ZEC, whatever, it doesn't matter. just start doing all of your swaps on Titan instead. And there's no reason not to do it, right? You're getting better price execution anyways. So let's go ahead and do one swap here. So when I click swap, you're going to notice a couple different things popping up, right? Can you see this? Shit, I guess it's not showing on... when you guys download Pocket Universe and you do a swap, you'll see that you get a pop-up window showing you the simulated transaction. That way, you know that you're safe.
Okay. I can't see it here, but definitely what we'll do, we'll share that later or in tomorrow's master report for airdrops. We'll include that. But tell us what you're seeing. So when you put the transaction before it goes through, Pocket Universe is a test transaction. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so it's a Chrome extension, and then when you execute a swap, a little pop-up window, like when you do a swap and your Phantom wallet like pops up and you see like your swap going through. So it's the same thing. It's just one extra step, because sometimes you might think you're on a legitimate website, but when you click a swap button, it's actually sending your coin somewhere to someone else's wallet. So this is going to help prevent that.
Yeah, no, this is very good. This is great protection.
So I just did the swap right now. You can go to your profile here, and it to give you some basic information. Okay, so here's something that's really cool too. They have this thing called Forge. So whenever you interact with protocols on Solana, whether it's Drift or MarginFi or Canino, sometimes you pay like a little hidden transaction fee that you might not even know about, and it's called it's like rent money that you pay. So what you can do with Titan is it'll actually show you if you have anything that you can burn and reclaim. So any of these little scammy tokens that you have, any rent that you might have paid to these protocols, you can get that back. So this is a wallet I haven't even checked in like 6 months, and I know it's not a lot of money, but I would suggest for anyone on this call, go on Titan today, check all of your wallets, because I know some guys have 10 wallets, 20 wallets. You might have like 5, 10, 50 bucks waiting for you, right? So I could go burn and reclaim. Yeah, I showed a board this the other day, and he's like, I like this one. So that means a lot. If a board likes it, then we ought to be doing something right, right? So you would just yeah, exactly. It's huge. So you could just go here, select all tokens, and then you could reclaim your rent, right? And then you can go to the leaderboard here. I haven't done a ton of swap volume on this wallet, because this is just kind of something to play around with. But look, now we know where we stand, right? I've done 2,000 swap volume, which is nothing, right? That is nothing. I'm already ranked like almost in the top 50K. So what I would do is I would come here and do a bunch of swap volume back and forth and try to get your rank up to like, top, whatever you can afford, right? Well, transactions on Solana are pretty cheap, so you could probably just do a bunch of volume back and forth. And
it's super cheap, man. If you put $1,000 in, and I just keep swapping back and forth from USDC to Solana and back and forth, just keep going for like an hour, unless I get a transaction like every minute, it's that would go a long way. And sure, what are rough fees, like 0.1%, like what, 0.2%? Roughly, what kind of costs are we looking at with something like this per transaction? It's dust. It's nothing.
You could even swap state. You don't even need to necessarily swap to Solana. You could just do USDC to USDT back and forth 100 times.
Yeah. Okay, and that's what we mean by gas fees, right? So you're swapping USDC and USDT back and forth. So it's not really costing you anything, because by the time you've got to the top 10,000 or top 1,000 or top 500, you still have the same starting capital. You're being rewarded just off the swaps. And what? You've paid like 1 or 2% fees. You put $1,000 in, you paid like $20, $30. And what kind of ROI
Yeah.
would you expect on something like this, KDB? You've obviously been involved for a while. If someone was to get in the top 1,000, top 500, top 100, obviously we don't know the exact. Oh, we can see the volume. Okay. So if we look at the volume here, people spend a lot. But yeah, what kind of return should people expect?
It's tough. It's tough to say. What my suggestion would be is to do this on a, if you have the time, to maybe do this on a couple different wallets, because sometimes what protocols do is they'll do some sort of tiered reward, right? A lot of airdrops tend to be linear. So the more capital that you spend, the more you invest, the bigger your airdrop's going to be. However, a lot of these protocols help out the smaller wallets too. So they might do like a $500 base reward. And if you do that on like 10 wallets, that could be like $5,000 on something that maybe costs on something that maybe costs you less than $100 and an hour of your time.
Look, guys, I think you're seeing just how simple this is. This is not rocket science. You're not really even risking too much. You can do these swaps back and forth. And if you're genuinely not sure, go and move the funds back into a different wallet. You're not like depositing funds and leaving it there for months. This is just a proactive effort. You're sitting there, you're sick, you take a day off work, go back and forth all day, you get in the top like 10,000 on a couple of wallets, and then it's almost like set and forget. This is big. I like what you said about different wallets as well. KDB, I guess that's more of an advanced technique. So putting all of your time in ranking in the top 1,000 on one wallet, getting to the top 10,000 and 10 might be even easier and quicker. But is there a way to speed up this process and automate some of this stuff?
Unfortunately, not that I'm aware of. I would love to hire a dev that could help automate some of this process and build a tool. But then there's always counterparty risk and smart contract. It's really not that difficult though. If you're gonna swap to something anyways, you're just changing your behavior pattern slightly instead of and you guys shouldn't even be doing swaps directly in Phantom Wallet anyways, because they charge like a 1% fee. So like if you're on your phone, like I know a lot of guys are, there's a website browser within the Phantom app, right? So you could just type in Titan, it'll take you there, and then just do your swaps there. It literally takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, you don't even have to be too proactive. So you just have to change your habits, as you said. I guess it's the same thing for other protocols too. You're just figuring something out. It really is very, very simple. I think we should lean into this. If there's a member of the community who hasn't touched this before, I think maybe we can follow their journey in the airdrop channel and just see how far you can go with Titan. I would set up 4 or 5 wallets and put a bit of time in every day. And you can kind of calculate like what your ROI time-wise is. Like what's minimum wage, right? And then how much does a lawyer make per hour? And how much does a doctor make per hour? Figure out how much time you're putting into one of these protocols and see what your hourly is. And I think that would be a cool way to do it. But yeah,
I think more at the very least, everyone should just go check it out anyways. Go check out your wallets, because you might have like 50, $100 like just sitting there waiting, right? I know that's not a ton of money for some people, but for some people it is, and it's free money.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Wow. I think, guys, we're going to start to open things up for. I saw a lot of questions come in and people were explaining. But while we do that, how about we go over 1 or 2 more KDB Titan's very simple. You're going in, you're making some swaps, higher volume equals win. It's basically zero cost. You're paying a bit on fees, and maybe more wallets the merrier. Have you got another one for us to go over?
Sure. We're gonna step up the difficulty a little bit. We're gonna go into expert mode. Well, I'll give you two options. Why don't we let the audience tell us which one that they would like us to do? So the options are Polymarket, right? So prediction market, or the other one is the Kraken L2 airdrop. So
okay, we can let me put a poll in there actually. So let me put a poll up. So you've got Polymarket, or you said Kraken L2. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Which drop? Okay, we'll put this out. Let's give it like 20 seconds. Guys, please vote Polymarket. I'm curious about this one. I'm going to have to bet on crazy things to see what happens. Let's just get to like 10 votes. Okay, sure. Yeah, Polymarket, Mr. KDB. Let's go over Polymarket and we can wrap up from there. This will be interesting. I'm curious because this Tyson seems very basic. Even for me, I'm so compelled to quickly go and just start doing it, or like pay my younger cousin like pennies on the pound to do this. But let's see what Polymarket is. Do I have to bet on Jesus's resurrection, or what's the score?
Man, did you watch? How do you know? Okay, can you see my screen right now?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone here, I assume knows who Ansem is, right? He's like the meme, well, one of the meme like gods, right? So
yeah. I only know one other guy who I'd put
actually
above him, but he's very busy at the moment. But Ansem's number 2 for me.
So Ansem is an angel investor in a protocol called Bullpen. And what Bullpen is, it is a trading terminal for both Hyperliquid and Polymarket. So this could potentially be like a 3-in-1, because you can technically trade perps here, but Hyperliquid has already done an airdrop, and yes, I know that they're probably going to do another one, but I think the better imminent 2-in-1 is the Polymarket one, and the reason why I know that is market CMO. You're just gonna have to take my word for it then, I guess. But basically, the Polymarket CMO confirmed that there will be a token, and the token is likely going to be in the first half of this year. So there's still time. And prediction markets they've just taken things by storm. There was rumors that Polymarket actually called the U.S. election before CNN and Fox. CNN or Polymarket actually predicted the invasion of Ukraine before it actually happened. And did you hear about that whole Venezuela thing? There was like an insider on Polymarket that check this, he bet 20 grand that Maduro would be out of power or he would be captured, and he won like 500 grand or something crazy. So this is something that I think
Baron Trump is really good, man. Kudos to Baron. Well played. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, we need an insider on the White House, but there's opportunities like that. So how do we farm this thing, right? I don't want to endorse gambling, right? We're not here to gamble. Although you could, if you have like really good knowledge about sport stuff like that, you'll like this one. So you know how you asked me about Jesus?
Yeah.
So you could. So the objective here is to generate volume without losing any money. So what I usually do is, if I'm watching a game, I'll wait till like the third period, and I'll make sure they're up by like 2 or 3 goals, and then I'll bet like, you know, $1,000, and I'll win back like 1,050, right? So I am only betting on predetermined outcomes, right? I'm not trying to lose any money here. I believe it or not, I'm not a gambler, but there is all sorts of different type of markets that you can bet on here. So if we do want to do this one, you need an access code.
Okay.
So if anyone is interested in this one, then just let us know in the chat, and I can get you access. So this is a 2-in-1, because what I think is going to happen, right? If Anson is an angel investor, you can bet your ass that when the TGE happens, he's going to be shilling the crap out of Bullpen. So that's when we take our profit, right? We get our airdrop. This guy's Bullpen, you know, pumping price. That's when we dump our profit, move that money into the next one. So every week you get a certain amount of points based on your trading activity. But the main one we're actually hunting for is Polymarket. That's going to be the big cook. But I just love these 2-in-1 plays, and everyone should experiment with Polymarket, because there's some really asymmetric bets, right? There's stuff about company earnings. There's all sorts of stuff in there that's really good. There is no right or wrong.
You can do some great
farm
hedges too, right? Like you can hedge, you can make an actual crypto play and then bet the opposite in a Polymarket bet. I think we can probably do some really cool piece on how to actually make money through the betting Polymarket side of things. But yeah, it's really interesting. So in short, just to summarize though, specifically on Bullpen, what you're saying is, once again, like Titan, we're essentially being rewarded for activity, in this case volume. And what you're doing is you're not actually interested in making bets, that's not you, but you will go and place bets even if it's really terrible odds, because, you know, let's say you already know the conclusion of a game because it's got 2 minutes left. You put it in just to add to your volume, is that what you're saying?
Exactly. So,
Okay.
you know, you might be getting like 95% odds on something. This Jesus market is a good example, right? Like you could technically bet $1,000, and I don't want to offend anyone if anyone's religious in here, anything like that. It's just an example, right? But you could bet $1,000 that Jesus is not coming back this year, and you could win. You could get back 1,027. The problem with this market is it doesn't settle till the end of the year. So I'm trying to do quick turnover volume, right? So I'm looking for things that are settling tomorrow or the end of the month or something like that. You could pick the price. What will the price of Bitcoin be at the end of the month? And there's one where you could 120K and bet no. I mean, I would love if Bitcoin goes above 120K by the end of the month, but is it likely? Right? So you could bet like $1,000. Yeah, but I would even that one, I would wait till like the very end of the month. I'd wait till like, you know, January 29th, and then I would do my volume. But just look for stuff like that. We're not gambling, we're not trying to lose money. The objective is just to generate volume, get points from Bullpen, and then this will also qualify us for the Polymarket airdrop when it happens.
Yeah, this is very cool. I like this one a lot. I think it's a no-brainer. Once again, it just seems that I get the idea that they do cost money because you're putting capital to work. But you should, you know, if you want to really make money in crypto, you got to get your money to work for you. And this is as close to free money as you can get. And you're just providing volume. This seems very similar to Titan. It seems very, very simple. Obviously, there's more nuance to it, but I feel like a 5-year-old can do this. Are there more complicated ones, or it's for the most part, this is what it is to tackle these? And the magic, I guess, is in the different strategies you can use.
So there's also like some arbitrage opportunities with Polymarket because there's other prediction markets. There's one called Opinion. And there's some tools out there that I actually want to throw in the report. I forgot to because I'm an idiot. But there's actually arbitrage tools. So they'll actually show you the two separate markets. And then based on how much that you put in, right? So you bet yes on one market, no on the other. And it's like a guaranteed win. So I'll remember to drop that in the report. In terms of more complex stuff, I'd say probably the most, and even if you want to call it complex, is probably doing the delta neutral strategies on the perp DEXs. I think that takes a little bit more skill, but that's also why the perp DEXs are the most lucrative, is because perp DEXs are one of the only products in crypto that actually have PMF, and these guys make a ton of money from all the fees and stuff. Hyperliquid's making like $3-4 million a day. So these other perp DEXs, they're gonna redistribute some of those fees that they're making back to users. And I don't want to dumb us down. We should be getting more sophisticated as crypto users, right? We need to take advantage of this permissionless, decentralized gift that we've been given. And there's so many different ways to make money in crypto. We need to take, it would be a disservice not to take advantage of it. So, and like I said, I'm not the smartest guy, and if I can do it, then everyone here can do it.
It's huge, man. I'm so excited for this initiative. I'm so excited for the report that we're dropping. I think this is going to be a huge year for airdrops too. And I encourage everyone to really get stuck in. Look, the market's chopping. It's moving sideways. Even then, right? You've got people who are trading, and kudos to you, but for the most part, everyone's sitting on their hands. They're in decent positions. You're in crypto, get stuck in, do something. There's nothing to lose, to be honest with you, especially because you're not risking it yourself. You're not going out and doing things blindly. You've got KDB, you've got us, you've got the other beasts in the airdrop channels to do it with. So yeah, if you want to do something in the space, if you've already got your spot positions, if you're not really a trader, or even if you are a trader, definitely dedicate some time to this. And it's the people who are most active here that will win. So yeah, that's great. KDB, thank you very much. Is there anything specifically you would like to show people here? We've been running for about an hour before we just go into questions.
I'm surprised there's still as many people as there are on the call. So I'm glad people stuck around. I really hope people got value from this call. My DMs are usually open. I am super active in the airdrop. So if anyone has questions, needs help, we're here to help you guys. I guarantee you, I don't know what everyone's portfolio is, but I guarantee you your journey to your first 6 figures is either going to come from two ways. It's either going to come from a meme coin, or it's going to come from an airdrop. Those are the two fastest ways that you can really build your portfolio, right? And the airdrops are like a stream of income, right? And then with the I already sold my lighter airdrop, right? I got like 90K from the lighter airdrop, and I am recycling that capital back into other airdrops. But I could buy Bitcoin if I wanted to. I could buy more ARA. It gives you freedom. I think everyone should be, dedicate like 5, 10, 20% of your portfolio to farming some of this stuff, or else you're really leaving money on the table. That's the truth.
I agree completely. And like, look, guys, to be transparent with you, I am not the biggest airdrop farmer. I came in under the illusion that this stuff takes a ton of time and a ton of effort. And I've been building Cryptonary for a long time. I've been on these live streams with you guys every single week. Christmas, New Year's, the works. And one of my type of resolutions in 2026 is to capitalize on airdrops. It's too much of a waste if we don't. It's too good of an opportunity to skip on. And absolutely, look, we have the meme coins, as KDB said, and we have multiple every single year, and everyone wins. But when the market's down like this, you don't exactly want to go and sell your Aura bags, do you? You know, so by doing this, even if it's $500, $1,000, this is a way for you to generate income. This is a way for you to increase your bags and go in and buy more assets. And this is a way for you to get better at crypto. You're engaging with protocols. You're
Yeah.
going to know what works. Perp DEXs blew up as a narrative. The people who really won from perp DEXs were the people who were farming these airdrops. They were there so early. So yes, if I urge you to do one thing in 2026 in the crypto space, it's this. And yeah, KDB, this was a phenomenal masterclass, and I'm so excited for tomorrow's report.
The people here got some good value and want to do it again. I'd love to, you know, because there's tons of other opportunities. Not this is literally the tip of the iceberg. But airdrops will give you the best education you'll ever get in DeFi. But yeah, I'd love to do it again. It was fun. I was nervous, but it was fun.
Oh man, you absolutely smashed it. This is honestly one of my favorite streams we've ever done. We'll do more of these. I think let's drop this first report. Let's drop part 2 as well later in the month, and let's reconvene and we can make it every 2 weeks, every 2 months, every quarter. We'll put some dedicated time into this, and maybe in the background we can do some workshops that are a bit more closed off for people to really create the community spirit. We see with meme coins the raiding and the energy and how passionate people get when everyone's working together, farming these airdrops, and you can have that friendly competition of how high you can rank on the leaderboard. It's only going to push you guys to make more and more money. So, guys, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Any questions before we head off, guys? Or memes? Anything more else? Yeah. Okay, cool. I see a question. Will the C Pro team be taking a more proactive role on helping Aura succeed? Look, with Cryptonary, we cover the market, right? And that includes Aura on a weekly basis. We put Aura in 2 market directions every single week, and we give you our take. I urge everyone to go back in there and read these analyses. And we're always very supportive of Aura, and we're giving it the coverage that we believe it deserves. It's very firmly one of our top picks for Cryptonary. You go on the website, it's right there. It's there. It's a C pick. It's currently the only meme pick that's there. And we absolutely are doing our best to support it in the most neutral way possible. Right? The way Aura played out was fantastic. It was an incredible run. Of course, it's very clear, I think, to everyone here, and I'm sure KDB can attest to this, that look, when market pulls back, when the market crashes, everyone loses energy, everyone loses motivation. And I think that's what's happened to Aura right now, but every other meme coin, where the community is just not as active. And I don't begrudge anyone for that. That's okay. I'm very confident when market sentiment flips, energy will return to Aura. And that's where things become telling. I would just say for right now, everyone who's in, do your best to be active and try and raid, try and engage, and scale quote unquote to your friends. And yeah, just cool, collected. Don't let your emotions get the better of you. If you're in Aura and you're fully exposed, I would urge you to maybe pull a bit out and put it into these airdrops and go back in. Like, the market's chopping anyway, right? Don't be scared. Like, pull out a little bit, go back in with more size if you want to. If you don't hold any Aura, then perhaps buy more, right? Yeah, KDB, do you have any comments specifically on Aura?
Yeah, let me jump in there quick. So you don't have to sell your Aura, because what we're doing, I've been talking
Oh,
to
yes.
a couple dev guys. So we're actually going to be able to borrow stable coins against our Aura, and then you can use those stable coins to go farm the airdrops and then pay back whatever you borrowed, right? So you don't need to
Wow.
full you don't need to full Hitler stack your meme bag because you want to go do something else. And this is capital efficiency, right? This is what all the big guys do with their Bitcoin or their hyperliquid. They deposit it into something like Camino or Aave, right? So you don't need to sell your assets and create a tax taxable event. You could deposit it into a lending and borrowing protocol. You can borrow against it, and then you can go make some yield with those dollars. That's what I would.
Yeah, that's big. Yeah, no, that makes sense. When do you think this will be live? That's very interesting.
Hopefully, in the next week or two. I know that they are talking to an RPC provider right now and just trying to dial in a couple things, because at the end of the day, we want these things to be safe as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think it's all. Yeah, I think it's going to be ready probably in the next couple weeks, and if that's an option that people want to do, then it'll be available. And I think that
Yeah, no, that
also
makes sense.
provides. I know some people make jokes about utility and memes and stuff, but hey, if you can borrow against your asset, then why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure that the community and some of the CTO and some of the big players will be very thoughtful and the best way to approach it. You obviously don't want, to have people to be over leveraged. It seems like a no-brainer. I believe other assets like SPX have done similar things, and we've seen how well they've done. So yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, very cool. Nice one. I had a little bit about it. I think we spoke about it, but I didn't realize it was so close. And any other questions, guys? The Aura Maxis, if you want to get anything out there. Um, how are you hearing about this? We're oblivious to it. Guys, you just got to talk. You just got to talk in the chat. I've seen it. I've seen people in the meme coin channel make a comment here or there. I've been forwarded a random Telegram message about someone's thought about this. I mentioned on a stream a couple of months ago that I think this is a cool idea, and I saw different reactions. Some people say, no, it's a bad thing. Memes are not about utility. I just put the idea out there. I'm sure it was already in the works. But yeah, you just gotta go and talk about this with other people. KDB, any update on the Ethereal airdrop?
That's funny. So I actually think that I'm actually pretty close with FIFA. That's like the dev or like the protocol head or whatever. I've been chatting with him in DMs. We already got a nice airdrop from Athena by pre-depositing into Ethereal. I don't know how many other, I don't know what other members got, but I got like 5K from that one. So it wasn't bad. But I would say for Ethereal, they're a perp DEX, right? So we're supposed to trade on there now. But I would say we're probably looking at about 3 to 6 months for that one.
Oh wow, no, that's really cool. What's it? Peanuts for you, mate. You're bringing in the big stacks. Kudos to you. We actually did a campaign and we're running ads for Cryptonary recently where just based on this report, we put a lot of time into these reports, guys. I think some people think because of the volume of content we push out, that these reports are done on like a day-to-day basis. Like we're putting weeks of work into writing of these reports and then literally months of knowledge and time and energy into producing them. I knew we're doing this top 10 airdrop piece, these two pieces going into Q1. And literally, as part of the new year and the Christmas campaign, we gave a 3x guarantee to subscribers. Says, look, if you don't make your money back, 3x your subscription, we'll give you your money back. And that was literally based off of this report that KDB is putting out. So yeah, huge opportunity here. I see someone ask about getting started today. They've got some spare time. Dive into the Airdrop Talk channel. KDB is probably the most active member of the team. I'm going to be more active in there. I'm excited for 2026 when it comes to airdrops. I would say perhaps consider waiting for the big report to drop. There'll be more details, but the guys are in there and some real cool guys who are also farming, just community members. So I'm sure they can help you out too. But yeah. Any final questions? Is there a minimum you recommend swapping? I think, John, some of these questions better on the fly, like in that channel, if they're specific to a particular airdrop. But yeah, the truth, set realistic yearly goals at 20, aim for 100K. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm super excited. Any final questions, more generalized or airdrops or the rest of the markets or Aura or other memes or anything? Oh, let's see. Okay, I'll see a couple of people typing. The airdrop. Hey, bring back gifs and images. Gifs and images are not in the channel. Dan, Dive, what's going on there? I didn't know that. I wasn't aware. Hey, yeah, man. Look, KDB, thank you very much. This was fucking awesome. I'm gonna shoot you a text message right after this to jump on a Google Meet. Thank you very much. This was super cool. Everyone, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And yeah, keep farming. You're gonna love the report tomorrow. And let's get stuck in. And yeah, KDB, I'm gonna shoot you a Google link, okay?
Sounds good, brother. Let's crush it, everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Take it easy. Speak to you soon. Bye.